Hi Sagittarius, and welcome to your horoscope for 2024. Thank you for joining me. It's a pleasure to be with you today. And 2024 is really going to be a momentous year. And the reason I'm saying that is because on the 21st of January, we have Pluto, the planet of transformation and change, death and rebirth, the phoenix rising from the ashes. That ingresses into Aquarius, so it shifts out of Capricorn and goes into the air sign of Aquarius. And that is very, very significant. If you look at your birth chart and you put the transits around it, you'll see that your chart is made up of 12 houses and that over a lifetime, Pluto will only ever touch 3 or 4 of the houses. It moves incredibly slowly. It's an outer planet, and the sign that it is in really determines the kind of social climate. It influences all of us as a group, society, humanity. And Pluto has been in Capricorn, the earth sign of the worker, since 2008. If you think back to 2008, what was happening in the world? We had the credit crunch, so people's savings disappeared, mortgages became impossible. And it continued on in Capricorn right until this moment, really. If you think about the last 3 years and the way things have changed, that has also been very significant. So a lot of people started working from home. And what I noticed as well is that institutions and governments and the powers that be started to take an active role in the individuals' lives. And they started to prescribe certain rules and what needed to be done. And the reaction, I mean, to some degree, but not overall, I think, wasn't like mass rebellion. A lot of people were open to saying, these are the rules, this is what we have to do in order to get this good outcome that we're all looking for. And that is very aligned with Pluto and Capricorn, because Capricorn, if you think of it as the mountain goat, it's always trying to get to the top of the hill, and it works really hard and it expects difficulties and it kind of sucks those up. It deals with it. And that's part of the beauty of Capricorn, that it can be so productive and get things done regardless of what the circumstances are. And now on the 21st of January, with Pluto going into Aquarius, we as people are going to find that the focus is on very different things, and that very different type of ways of operating are celebrated and adopted by a lot of people. So just to give you an idea of the difference between Capricorn and Aquarius, Capricorn is really interested in institutions and being productive. Aquarius likes freedom and revolution and innovation and new ideas. Aquarius rules astrology, it rules technology, so we'll see big advances in both of those areas. And it's really about, what can I do for humanity? How can I be of service? Aquarius is the sign of the teacher. It's also known as the water bearer, which is interesting because it is an air sign. But the image of the water bearer is about cleansing away the negative, detoxing, and kind of creating space for new things to come in. So it's a purification process. So this is what's happening on the 21st. It genuinely really is significant. I can't overstate that enough, because it's going to last until 2044. So pretty much the next 20 years. And because it does move so slowly, it's really a big chunk of all of our lives that is now going to change drastically. It does move very, very slowly, so it isn't a big surprise that it does retrograde one more time before it moves into Aquarius in earnest. And it retrogrades back into Capricorn for the last time on the 2nd of September. And then it moves back into Aquarius on the 19th of November. In your case, Sagittarius, Pluto is in Capricorn in your second house of money. So over the last decade or so, you may have noticed that work and creating income and working towards something has been a huge focus, and it's also felt very serious. Like there weren't a lot of options to take this lightly and to maybe be a little less responsible. It's all seemed to require a real earnest focus and real, devotion and putting your energy into it. In terms of your chart, you as Sagittarius are a fire sign, and your ruler is Jupiter, which is about expansion and growth and not taking things in such a rigid way, and being kind of open to other options and being spontaneous and not necessarily productive all the time, maybe even being a little excessive. Oh no. So with Pluto going into Aquarius, I think you'll really appreciate this because it moves from your second house of the physical and your belongings and your income, and it moves into your third house of communication, ideas, and perspective. And that's what Aquarius is: opening up the perspective, inventing things, being someone who wants to do things for the sake of others, being a teacher, being someone who's intellectual, and ultimately not just uses information because it's so interesting, but takes information to educate in order to create a structure which is beneficial for that person and everyone else. So with it going into your third house of communication, you're going to be massively inspired, and you're going to feel like this huge weight has been lifted, and it's like, oh wow, the rules are a little less stringent right now, and I can choose for myself, and I have the time and the opportunity to engage with things that actually interest me. I don't have to be so disciplined about everything. The other thing that is super significant and I think very telling, on the 1st of January, so the first day of the new year, we have Mercury, the communication planet, going direct. So when Mercury is in retrograde, it causes communication issues, transportation issues. Email doesn't arrive, the luggage doesn't show up at the airport, maybe the bus is late. It's just those little kind of headachy things. With it going direct, it's a clear focus and less opportunity for misunderstanding and for things going wrong. So if you look at the shift of Pluto on the 21st of January, this being kind of preceded by Mercury going direct, I think the main message is that things open up a lot in 2024. You kind of regain this sense of, I'm allowed to pursue things that interest me, even if they are just for fun. Even if they're not going to have some sort of productive outcome. It's okay to live in the moment and to learn and to enjoy and to communicate. Yes, the ultimate goal is to help and to make things better, but I don't need to be so rigid about every kind of step of this process, and I get to take a little bit of time off as well. So we've got 3 Mercury retrogrades this year, on the 1st of April to the 25th of April, 5th of August to the 28th of August, and 25th of November to the 15th of December. Mercury can go retrograde 3 or 4 times in a year. So regardless of each retrograde and specifically how it affects all of us, I think what's significant is that we have fewer retrogrades, and that this is a year where things are going to feel more energized, the pace is picked up, there's less room for, not distraction, but less room for things hitting a wall. And you're either able to sidestep things or swerve or kind of find an alternative. It's just a feeling of there being alternative options and different ways of doing everything, and less judgment and less focus on the bottom line. So it's kind of like a luxury, I would say. Venus, the planet of love and beauty and creativity, is direct all year, which is amazing because Venus is the planet that's responsible for starting new relationships, starting new businesses. When it does go retrograde, I always mention that it's not the best time to do any of those things because your perspective changes. And then when the planet goes direct again, you look back on those things and they make no sense to you, and you have to spend a lot of time undoing things you spent like a month or 2 months on. So with this, the focus remains the same. You're able to make a lot of progress without this back and forth. And also Mars is the planet of drive and ambition and fire and motivation. And that's direct for most of the year. It only retrogrades on the 6th of December 2024 until the 23rd of February 2025. So pretty much for the majority of the year. That's not going to cause any issues. I want to have a look at a couple of specific things that I feel are very significant. First of all, we've got on the 27th of January, we've got Uranus, the planet of the miraculous and the chaotic, and the ruler of Aquarius, the sign that Pluto has just gone into. that goes direct. It's been in retrograde since the 28th of August 2023. So when a planet is in retrograde, the way I interpret that is that the energy is expressed internally. When it moves forward, you notice the energy in the outside world. And Uranus is chaos and change and really unexpected things happening. And with that going direct on the 27th, in Taurus, in your 6th house, you'll notice that your practical circumstances, your daily routine, your work, your physical body, that they feel much more pliable. They feel malleable, not like everything is set in stone and this is the way it is and I've got to do it. It's like, I've got options here. I can either change my diet or not. I can work differently or maybe not. Or I can change up my routine if I want. It just brings a lot of new options into your world, and it feels very encouraging, and it again feels like the pressure has been reduced by a great deal. Now, your ruler, Jupiter, is also in Taurus here at the beginning of the year. It's at 7 degrees in your 6th house, and Jupiter is expansion and growth and good fortune. And it means that if you're focused on your practical circumstances and you're actually willing to adapt things and change things, it's not just for fun and you being frivolous. If you go with the good luck of Jupiter and you implement changes that you feel are good and right and proper and that you want to make, then the good luck of Jupiter is going to support you in those. And actually, I would read this as the universe wants you to make some changes. And again, reading between the lines here, that to me says that when it comes to your practical circumstances, work and income and security and your belongings, for you, Sagittarius specifically, the pressure reduces. And how could the pressure reduce? Either if you create a second source of income, or your bills go down, or there's some sort of positive event that means you don't have to be so concerned with those things. So I think your practical circumstances get a lot easier in that way at the end of January 2024. Then the next significant thing that I noticed is on the 25th of March, we have a lunar eclipse in Libra, and that happens in your 11th house of hopes and dreams and your connection with other people in an informal way. So friends and family members, people you enjoy spending time with. And this eclipse being in Libra, you get to consider your relationships and what you're working towards and whether you still want to do that. And it's lit up by all the, and then darkened out, obviously, because it's an eclipse, which gives you that moment of pause and reflection. But on the other side of the chart, we have a lot of fire energy, Aries, which says it's time for you to pursue the things that you enjoy and that you love. Not only do you have permission to do that, it's good and important to pursue things that motivate you. And the only reason to pursue them is that you're interested and motivated, because they will lead to realizing your hopes and dreams. So you see, it makes sense. It's not just you being frivolous and saying enough of this, I want to have fun and go party. It's by you getting in touch with your own fire and heat and passion, it leads you to realizing your hopes and dreams. And the Sagittarius, as I know, that's kind of, again, on brand with how you operate. You don't get to where you want to go by sitting there and worrying about it. I'm enjoying this. I'm gradually going to move towards it. I mean, your ruler is Jupiter. On the 8th of April, we have a solar eclipse in Aries. Okay, so that is going to give you the chance to question, what am I moving towards? It's very similar to that, but it's not so much about what is the ultimate outcome and what are my hopes and dreams. It's what am I doing in the here and now, and simply, do I enjoy it or not? So it's as simple as that. There's not a lot of back and forth and kind of questioning things endlessly. On the 2nd of May, we have Pluto, this big star of the year, that starts to retrograde until the 11th of October, and it starts its journey towards being back in Capricorn, which it reaches on the 2nd of September. Again, it retrogrades, so you'll notice that the ideas and the willingness to innovate and adopt new way of doing things, and to even communicate and to present yourself in a completely different way, that starts to stem from within. You may think I'm being very superficial here, but I'm getting that it's a lot of people are going to decide to present themselves differently simply through clothing and makeovers and changing their appearance and studying things which they haven't had any interest before, but now it's fascinating. And again, it may not make sense in the moment and it may seem arbitrary and there's no rhyme or reason to that, but everything here is leading towards you getting to a place of fulfillment and comfort through this process of listening to the self, and this is what I want to do right now, so I'm going to do it. Wow, so that's really nice to be a Sagittarius in 2024, because that process seems very pleasurable. 26th of May, we've got Jupiter going into Gemini, and that happens in your 7th house of relationships. And at this point of the year in June, you've got a lot of Gemini energy in your 7th. So this is a wonderful time to connect with other people, but to have wonderful experiences in your relationships and to experience, I guess, new groups, new friendship circles. If you're single, it looks amazing for dating. It's certainly not a quiet time of the year. In June, you've got Mercury, Jupiter, Venus, the Sun, and you're transiting midheaven in Gemini. So I'm happy and enjoy communicating. Communication leads to positive circumstances. It may give me ideas for new beginnings. Expressing myself gives me a sense of confidence. And again, it may even be more concrete and useful because it could lead to an opportunity in work. So, for instance, if you meet a friend and the two of you discuss something that you have an interest in, and one of the people involved has an idea, hey, that could actually be a great business. It could lead to something concrete like that. So again, it's a very light touch, and things which seem very unserious, leading to things which are super solid and which will serve you for a long time in future. And I like that recipe. I like that process. Do things that are fun to get something really valuable. It's better than doing something unfun that then ends up being unvaluable. Okay, 29th of June. We've got Saturn go. I have to tell myself these little jokes, you see, to keep myself amused. On the 29th of June, we have got Saturn going retrograde until the 15th of November. And that is in your 4th house of your roots, family, what makes you feel like you belong. And Neptune is next to it, also in Pisces, and that also goes retrograde a week after, or no, 4 days after, on the 2nd of July. It goes retrograde until the 7th of December. So again, Saturn and Neptune are going to talk to you or express their energies internally. And it means that when it comes to my roots and where I belong and a sense of home, there's absolutely no question around that. There is no conflict. It's very unlikely that anything is going to change. So it bodes really well for your relationships, especially established long-term relationships. And there's little room for conflict. So again, reading between the lines there, it doesn't look like that's going to be a huge theme in your life, that you have a great amount of upheaval there. On the 1st of September, we've got Uranus going retrograde until the 30th of January 2025. And that's the second retrograde of the year. The path of Uranus is very chaotic anyway. It makes sense for the planet of chaos and the unpredictable. And it's in Taurus in your 6th house at 27 degrees. So internally, you may feel a sense of, I am unsettled in terms of the structures here as they relate to work, my daily routine, and my physical body and my health. So again, that paves the way for a change in the way you exercise, or the way you feed your body, or the way you feel about your appearance. You may want to change things up in your work, have some time off, or really look at the routine and say, how can I make this more spontaneous, or how can I give myself more freedom in it, so that I have more kind of room to maneuver. I have more freedom in that area. Okay, then on the 17th of September, we've got a lunar eclipse in Pisces. And that happens, let's see, again in your 4th house of family, your roots, and it's right on top of the IC. So the moon is your feeling. Pisces is really being at peace with the situation and seeing the bigger picture. So again, it highlights the fact that the family situation and things that you rely on, and particularly for emotional support and a sense of belonging, aren't going to cause you any issue around this time of the year. So you can focus on changing your daily routine, discovering what your hopes and dreams are and how you can move ahead with those. On the 2nd of October, we have a solar eclipse in Libra. And that is in your 11th house of hopes and dreams. So you're revisiting that. How can I connect with what is important to me in this moment? How can I get creative around bringing those things in and close the gap between where I am now and my hopes and dreams? How can I bring those together? So again, it's good and right for me to take action based on my feelings. And I have a sense that if I do that, I've already accomplished what I wanted. So that's more than half the battle won, because you come at it with such a positive approach. And finally, Jupiter, your ruler, goes retrograde until on the 9th of October. It goes retrograde until the 4th of February 2025. And it does that in your 7th house of relationships. So again, if I am able to speak my truth, I'm going to look at who I connect with through that process, who is attracted to me, and that's going to create a very easy and natural connection with someone who's meant to be in my life. So your energy in 2024 is genuinely to be envied. It's enviable, because you come at things with such a light touch and you get such a good outcome that seems, or it doesn't seem, it feels organic, like a natural progression of something I enjoyed doing to begin with. And look, even more good stuff has come in. Hooray! So that's super straightforward. So good for you. I hope you have a wonderful time. If you would like a personal reading with me, please get in touch via my website. It's gregoryscott.com. On the front page, click on Book Your Reading to audio reading with me. In my personal readings, I use astrology, tarot, numerology, and my intuition. I combine all of those things to answer any questions you may have. To draw up your birth chart, I need your place of birth, date of birth, and time of birth. If you don't have the time of birth, then order a chart rectification with me, please. That's a process where you send me 10 or more life events and I actually work out your time of birth. That's a good idea, because the chart changes every 4 minutes. So the more accurate the chart is, the more accurate I can read it, and it's a more accurate reflection. So I hope that gives you an idea of what's coming up. If you would like any more information, please check out my other videos, the monthly horoscopes, the weekly horoscopes, and the daily tarot readings. I wish you a lot of success and good fortune and good times in 2024, and I'll speak to you soon. All the best.